Enter account name KBC. Deposit 10 shillings or more, enter your PIN and press OK, then choose 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588 and you can win up to 30 million shillings every 4 minutes. Deposit, play and win with Mega Dollar. Big game for big winners. Je, unaweza fanya nini kwa dakika 4?
Na Mega Dollar.
Unaweza piga chef?
Na Mega Dollar. Kila kitu ni mega.
Unaweza pika ugali?
Na Mega Dollar. Pesa hapa ni mega. Na Mega Dollar.
Labda unaweza fua nguo?
Ni mega. Na Mega Dollar.
Ama unaweza tengeneza milioni 30. 4 minutes are enough to win big with Mega Dollar. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, select Pay Bill, enter business number 29588, enter account name KBC, deposit 10 shillings or more, enter your PIN and press OK, then choose 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588 and you can win up to 30 million shillings every 4 minutes. Deposit, play and win with Mega Dollar. The big game for big winners.
A very good evening to you and thank you so much for joining us here on Channel 1 News Hour Weekend on this 13th day of May 2018. We have a lot lined up for you for the next 1 hour. But first, before we delve into what we have for you tonight, let's have a look at the news highlights.
Maneno ni mawili. Tuunganishe wa Kenya vile tulianzisha 2013. Tujenge daraja ya urafiki na undugu na umoja kwa Wakenya wote, bila ya kujali ni wa kabila gani ama dini gani.
Deputy President William Ruto challenges politicians to drop selfish interests and focus on service delivery. Education Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed urges striking dons not to abandon talks. And tonight in a special series, Fatal Gold, Rosalia Opondo and Simon Achola narrate the struggles of Nyatika residents in their quest for gold. All right, this is some of the stories that we have for you tonight and much more here on Channel 1 News. Our weekend Twitter handle at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Zeta Brenda. SMS line on the top left of your screen is 22162. Let's start the conversation on our social media platform. Our sign language interpreter for tonight's bulletin on the bottom right of your screen is Susan Thuku. Susan, welcome to tonight's bulletin. On that note, Channel 1 News Hour begins right now, and we begin with political matters, where Deputy President William Ruto has tonight called on politicians to stop talks on power sharing arrangements, but strive towards bettering the lives of millions of Kenyans who have a major stake in this country. Ruto, who was in Kitale, said the Jubilee government led by President Uhuru Kenyatta was committed to working with the opposition for the sake of peace and prosperity. Samson Kiduka begins our tonight's bulletin with this report. With succession politics and referendum debate clouding the national debate, Deputy President William Ruto is now urging leaders to concentrate on service delivery to the people.
Hatuwezi kuendelea na mjadala ya viongozi. Siku gani tutaanza kuongea mjadala ya wananchi? Kwa sababu sisi viongozi tumepigiwa kura mwananchi anangojea nafasi yake. Barabara itajengwa namna gani? Hospitali atafika namna gani? Mtoto wake atapata kazi kwa njia gani? Ataunganishiwa stima vipi? Atapatiwa maji kwa njia gani? Huko ndiko mambo yanafaa kuenda huko.
Ruto says President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition leader Raila Odinga came together for the common good of the country, and the pact between the two leaders should not be construed to mean power sharing deal, but a move aimed at transforming the lives of the 40 million plus Kenyans.
The national narrative must not be any more about power and power sharing. It must be empowerment of millions of young people to get jobs. The national narrative cannot be any more about leaders. It must be about the people, millions of people who have a stake in Kenya. It cannot continuously be just about us, the leaders of Kenya.
Ruto said every Kenyan has a stake in this country and talks should not revolve just around a few individuals.
Maneno ni mawili. Tuunganishe wa Kenya vile tulianzisha 2013. Tujenge daraja ya urafiki na undugu na umoja kwa Wakenya wote bila ya kujali ni wa kabila gani ama dini gani. Na ya pili, tuhakikishe ya kwamba tunatekeleza manifesto ambayo wananchi walipigia kura ya kuhakikisha kwamba vijana wanapata kazi, tunazalisha vyakula ya kutosha, tunaweka bima ya afya, na tunahakikisha ya kwamba Kenya hii kupitia kwa kuwa na viwanda, tunahakikisha kwamba vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya wako na nafasi ya kufanya kazi.
The Deputy President said the nation should focus its energies on solving the challenges facing the majority by ensuring that the basic needs, but not for just a few. A host of leaders who had accompanied him at the church service played the support for his presidential bid come 2022.
Watu wa Mlima Kenya, sisi tunasema ni kazi tu, ni kufanya kazi, lakini tuwajua safari ya kesho kupangwa leo. 2022 si rais tuko naye hapa.
Sisi tunataka viongozi wenye watakuwa wa action oriented, na hatutakubali mtu kuja ati kwa sababu alikuwa mtoto wa fulani. Biblia inasema we are all equal before the eyes of God.
Hii siasa si ya monarchy, tukiamka asubuhi naenda kwa huyu, jioni kwa huyu, kesho kwa huyu. Hapana, hata sisi maskini tutazaa kiongozi wetu maskini 2022, William Samuel Arap Ruto.
That report was prepared by our own reporter, George Kithuka. Now to other matters, where Water and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Simon Chelugui has warned that no dam will be constructed in the country henceforth without clearance from the Water Resource Management Authority. Chelugui warning came even as a Senate Deputy Speaker Kindiki Kithure called for the prosecution of the owner of the collapsed Sulai Dam that claimed over 40 lives in Nakuru County.
Wednesday, a dam in Solai area in Nakuru County collapsed, sweeping away over 40 people and destroyed property of unknown value. In averting similar tragedies in future, the government has now ordered those interested in constructing dams to adhere to the Water Resource Management Authority regulations or risk legal action.
Natoa honyo kwa wale wote ambao wanafanya kazi kwa mashamba yao. Tusingatie maelezo ya wale ambao wanasimamia miradi kama hii.
Chelugui say there are clear procedures on how dams should be constructed, which include inspection by the concerned bodies, saying the law must be followed by investors wishing to have such water bodies in their farms.
Saidiane, kama kuna project ama dam kama ya maji kama hii ambaye imekaa vibaya, inaweza bomoka, iumize watu, ifunje manyumba, hata inaweza ua, tafadhali tupashe habari kwa serikali.
Nema, Warma, wafanye hiyo kazi. Wasaidie sisi huko mapema. Hata sehemu hii saa hii nimesikia hapa juu, kwa sababu ya baraka kuna jepterwa mingi imeanza kutoboka. So maengineer tumesema waende round.
But as the CS was issuing his warning, Senate Deputy Speaker Kindiki Kithure was calling for the arrest and prosecution of Patel Mansukulal, owner of the private dam in Solai area, arguing that the businessman failed to heed an earlier warning by government officials on the likelihood of the dam bursting.
Tunataka serikali ichukue hatua immediately. Na wasituambie maneno ya pata potea. Kwa sababu maisha ya mwananchi wa kawaida siku hizi saa ingine inachukuliwa kijuju.
Kindiki was speaking in Chuka, Igamba Ngombe constituency, when he made donation of foodstuff to over 30 families displaced by a landslide that rendered them homeless. Rose Gakwa for Channel 1 Weekend.
To education matters, where Education Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed now says the government is working round the clock to ensure that the ongoing lecturer strike comes to an end. Now, the Cabinet Secretary is also asking striking dons not to abandon the negotiating table, saying that the government is committed in ensuring that the striking lecturers get their 2017-2021 CBA.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
A day after talks meant to end the ongoing lecturer strike collapsed, Education Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed has said the government is in close talks with the unions so as to resolve the unending strike. The CS, who was in Thika, however, pleaded with the striking dons not to walk away from the negotiation table.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever.
The striking lecturers had claimed that vice-chancellors were playing cards with their pay demand by not openly stating what they have in their counter-proposals. Meanwhile, about 4 million learners have been enlisted with NHIF cover as part of the government's push to have all students in public schools have medical covers.
The learners who are in our public secondary schools, there are about 4 million of them, just slightly less than 4 million. And it's already been rolled out, and so it's running already. We are also trying to put in place a mechanism to make sure that it's used, well, and to track the students when they use NHIF, so that we actually know going forward, how much we'll need to spend.
Amina also promised that the government was revamping technical training institutions to accommodate as many students as possible, saying it will soon be mandatory to have career centers in all universities, colleges, technical institutions and schools.
Your courage to confront some of the most gripping onstage fears and to present yourselves for correction and training is an indicator that you're truly leaders. This, in fact, is not a contest of wit, but an exhibition of future leadership and positive contribution to governance and nation building through clear solution-driven thinking.
For Channel 1 Weekend, I'm Emily K. Bade.
Health Cabinet Secretary Cecil Kariuki says the government was forced to source for specialized doctors from Cuba to bridge the current medical staff shortage. While defending the move to import doctors from Cuba, Kariuki said the government says the country was in dire need of specialists from the various illness, and that the government was looking for about 100 doctors. Now, the move, the CS said, will address the shortage gap in county hospitals across the country.
Despite looming opposition from the Kenyan Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist and Dentist Union, who have threatened to render the importation of their 100 medics fruitless if the grievances are not addressed, the government says the ship has already set sail and will be no turning back.
Human resource for health iko na gap, mwanya ni kubwa, na hiyo mwanya ndio imetufanya kama serikali kuu kwenda Cuba tukiongozwa na Mheshimiwa Rais kupata ama kukubaliana ni muhimu tu leta madaktari wale specialized ndio waje hapa washikana na madaktari wetu.
Speaking while on a tour of Engineer County and Referral Hospital in Nyandara County, Health CS Cecily Kariuki said the move to source for doctors from Cuba was an exchange program between the two countries to enhance and promote healthcare services.
Tunapeleka daktari kama 50 Cuba kutoka hapa Kenya, na mmoja wapo atakuwa anatoka hapa kaunti ya Nyandarua, ndio pia waende wawe specialized na family medicine, the Cuban approach, which is promotive approach.
Nyandarua Governor Francis Kimemia, who was present, supported the move, saying this will help address the serious staff shortage in the health sector.
Huo msaada kutoka Cuba ni kitu cha maana sana. Maana mmeona hii hospitali inatumika karibu 20% kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa madaktari. So hili ni jambo ambalo litasaidia sana hospitali zetu zote katika county.
The CS also warned of the worrying lifestyle and non-communicable diseases, which she said were on the rise, saying the nation needed to adopt a variety of innovations, including new knowledge, new products and new services to tame such diseases.
Going back to the basics means we also interrogate our lifestyle, how active we are, because it has a direct implication to some of these non-communicable diseases.
Now, a total of 152 election petition cases are currently pending at the Court of Appeal and at the High Court following the conclusion of 388 election petitions filed after the August 2017 general election. 102 appeals were filed in the Court of Appeal, while 87 were filed in the High Court.
According to a statement from Judiciary on the status of election petitions, 189 appeals were filed in both the Court of Appeal and the High Court. The appeals emanating from the 388 election petitions filed after the 2017 general elections. 102 appeals were filed in the Court of Appeal, while 87 appeals were filed in the High Court. 87 appeals filed in the High Court are composed of 45 appeals involving member of the County Assembly and 42 appeals involving party list. However, one of the 102 appeals at the Appellate Court, 15 have since been dismissed, while 15 appeals were dismissed by the High Court.
All right, let's cross over to Murang'a County to a sad story where police are holding the wife of Gatungure Secondary School principal, that is Samuel Mbogo, whose mutilated body was found in his cupboard. The father of 5 is alleged to have been murdered in his home by 2 men who were allegedly hired by his wife and then stuffed inside his cupboard. The 2 then attempted to drive off to dispose the body, but the car slipped into a trench and was trapped. Residents of Gakwire village in Kiharu constituency, Murang'a County, Sunday morning woke up to a rude shock after they found the body of Gatunguru Secondary School principal stuffed in his cupboard. The body of Sami Mbogo was discovered by milk vendors while on the way to the market when they noticed blood spilling from the car.
Hilo gari tukileta maziwa asubuhi hatukuona chochote ama mtu hapo ndani, lakini kwa muda mfupi kuna mama aliyetoka pande ya chini akaona damu imetililika chini na akachukua jukumu la kuita wenzake. Tulipofika pale tuliona ukweli kuna damu, nasi tukafungua lile gari na ukweli tukapata kuwa mwalimu principal mkubwa Sami ameuawa na amewekwa hapo ndani ya gari.
Alikuwa ameuawa akawekwa kwa gari. Na kwa bahati mzuri vile tuliona ile gari wakati ilikuwa inatoroka na ile mwili ikateleza ikaingia kwa mtaro na sasa ikakwama pale. Na tulipozunguza sana tukapata ya kwamba yule mtu pengine alikuwa ameuliwa kwa nyumba yake. Hii ilikuwa njia ya kutoroka, lakini Mungu ni mzuri, hawakuweza kutoroka na yeye.
The father of 5 is alleged to have been murdered in his home by 2 men who are claimed to have been hired by the wife before stuffing the body on his cupboard. Mbogo's 8-year-old daughter says her father arrived home at midnight only for her to hear screams from the father who was pleading with the attackers not to kill him.
Mtoto mdogo wa miaka kama 8 hivi anasema jana usiku kuna watu wawili waliingia kwa boma yao na pengine ndio walitenda ile kitendo.
The principal's body had deep wounds on his head, eyes had been gouged out, his tongue removed and knees cut with a panga. Mbogo's wife is alleged to have tried murdering her husband initially when he hacked him on his head with a knife.
Ngua mlango nikakuta uwe Sami yako huko akiwa amekufa, amekatwa hapa kwa mdomo na ulimi ilikuwa nje.
According to Area Chief Stephen Komu, the couple had been entangled in domestic wrangles for a long now.
Wakati mzozo umetokea, njia ni mingi za kusuluhisha ile mzozo. Sio lazima mtu auliwe. Na tungeuliza watu hata pasta wa makanisa watusaidie kwa hili jambo.
The wife of the slain teacher is said to be assisting police officers with investigations. The killing of Githunguri High School principal comes almost a year after Kiru Boys High School principal Solomon Mwangi was found in a thicket in Juja, and his wife Jen Mudhoni is currently on trial for the murder. Such a sad incident then. We hope that relatives of Samuel Mbogo will get the justice that they are looking for. Allow me to take a short breather right now. It is 21 minutes past 9 p.m. But when we come back, we shall be bringing you more stories, including our feature story, Fatal of Gold, that has been done by Rosalie Opondo and Simon Achola, including sports later on.
Every 4 minutes is a chance for you to win big with Mega Dollar. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, enter paybill number 295888, account name KBC, and amount from 10 shillings or more. Then select your 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588. You can win up to 30 million shillings. Start playing now and win. Mega Dollar. Big winners every 4 minutes.
I didn't find anyone when I went out.
Had the power gone off yet?
No, not yet. Then I saw a light in Ignacio's shop. I went closer and, thinking she was in there, I entered.
What happened then? Tell me. Answer me, Gonzalo. What happened when you walked inside Ignacio's shop?
Welcome back and thank you for keeping it KBC Channel 1 News Hour Weekend, and to continue the bulletin where Petroleum and Mining Cabinet Secretary John Munyes has called on investors in the mining sector to adhere to the new Mining Act 2016 by ensuring that local communities participate and benefit from resources in the locality. Speaking in Kwale County during a sensitization program, Munyes said the government was keen in revolutionizing the sector, which has a great potential of turning around the economic growth in the country.
Top on the list, the Act seeks to iron out and prevent wrangles so often witnessed between locals and the mining investors.
Tuko chini ya sheria, na hiyo sheria ni wana Kenya, na lazima ianze na, kwa sababu ianze na kuprotect interest ya wananchi. Ukweli ama urongo hiyo?
Petroleum and Mining Cabinet Secretary John Munyes wants investors in the sector to adhere to the act by ensuring the locals are fully involved and benefit from their resources.
Kama mzee nimesimamia mambo ya watu wabezi waliotuomba tuwape ardhi wajenge shule na hospitali bure, tukatoa. Mimi ni mmoja nilitoa ardhi yangu bure ikajengwa hospitali, lakini leo hii imefikia kiasi cha kuwa tuje tuondolewe bwana waziri.
Sentiments shared by local leaders who accompanied the cabinet secretaries during a sensitization program in Kwale County, including Area Senator Issa Juma Boy, Msambweni Member of Parliament Suleiman Dor, his Lunga Lunga counterpart Hatib Mwashetani, and County Woman Representative Zuleha Hassan, among other local leaders.
Tumechoka kudhulumiwa. Sio tuambie watu kwa shilingi 10,000 kafanya drill. 10,000 ni nini kwa 10,000 kwa mtu sahihi?
The act greatly simplifies the mining rights, creating a conducive environment for foreign investors, helping the mining sector play its part in developing Kenya into a globally competitive nation.
Meanwhile, traders at Zamzam area Woodley Estate are actually counting losses after the business premises were flattened by Nairobi County officers. The traders claimed they had been issued with a notice to vacate but had nowhere to go to. Now, the demolition comes barely days after the Kenya National Highway Authority demolished business premises along Ring Road in Westlands. Zamzam area Woodley Estate. This is what traders woke up to. Scattered wares and iron sheets brought down by the strike of the bulldozer. Some of the mechanics and vendors watched helplessly while others tried to salvage the little they could. The exercise was carried out under tight security.
Ni wakora wamehayo, hata wamewadrop hapa usiku na mabasi. Ni wakora, hata wanasema wanataka kuua mtu, watu watatu hapa.
The section accommodates around 50 mechanics, 100 cloth vendors and small kiosks.
Naendesha bar and restaurant na kuna watu wengi sana hapa, watu kama 4,000 wanaendesha biashara zao. Wamekuja na siwaurizi, wengine wananilipa, wengine hawanilipi.
Majority of the structures are arrested on a piece of land allegedly owned by a prominent businessman who wants back his property.
Miaka 10 nimesubiriwa na Sudi. Na mimi ni mjane. So kama na wetu wanajua hii maneno. Sijui kwa nini leo hakukuja hapa.
While the traders acknowledge they had received a notice to vacate, they claim they did not have alternative space to settle on. The demolition comes 3 days after the Kenya National Highway Authority demolished structures used by curio traders along Ring Road, Westlands, to pave way for the expansion of Lower Kabete and Peponi roads. All right, let's have a look at some of look at what's making the headlines across the 47 counties where the Dorobo County community living at Leparua at the Laikipia Isiolo border has been assured that the government will hive part of the Isiolo Livestock Department land to settle them. This and more stories making news in the county news roundup.
Several bars and entertainment joints have been closed down in Voi County after a crackdown by authorities. The Liquor and Licensing Committee of the county said that the establishment will remain shut until they undertake renovation to meet hygiene and safety standards before being issued with compliance certificates to reopen.
Hii ambayo tuko ya sub-county ya Voi ni sehemu ambayo vileo vimekuwa vikiingia vingi kutoka Tanzania na zingine ambazo haziruhusiwi kisheria. Na hiyo yote ni jukumu ya hii komiti kuhakikisha kwamba imeangalia. Adiposa katika hata ukichunguza utaona kwamba kuna majumba ambayo tumepitia tukaona hayafai kiafya, kwa sababu ukiingia ndani unakuta kama ni pombe imedisplayiwa katika ile njia haistahili.
Meanwhile, stakeholders in the media industry have raised concerns over what they say is continued interference on freedom of the press. Led by Media Council of Kenya Chief Executive Officer David Omoyo, the stakeholders say political and commercial interests continue to reduce the space for media freedom. The players in the sector are now pleading with President Uhuru Kenyatta not to assent to the recently passed Computer and Cybercrimes Bill 2018 by the National Assembly.
Ask that independent journalists be accorded the necessary space, autonomy and protection to carry out their work, because a free media is a key pillar of our democratic governance.
Elsewhere, the Dorobo community living in Leparua at Laikipia Isiolo border has been assured that the government will hive part of the Isiolo Livestock Department land to settle them. The National Lands Commission Chairman Mohamed Suzuri said the community will be resettled on a 10,000-acre piece of land. The community had been promised resettlement during the reign of former President Mwai Kibaki, but the directive was never implemented.
in accordance with the agreement reached between the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries Development and the community leadership in Isiolo. Please take the necessary action and keep this office informed accordingly.
While in Samburu, over 23,000 seedlings have been planted at Loikas area. Samburu Governor Moses Lelonkula led the residents in a tree planting exercise to restore a section of forest that had been destroyed as a result of human activities. The governor said his administration will not allow people to destroy the forest, which is a key source in the area.
Madhara tunapata sasa ya jilali, mara ikinyesha kuna floods na uharibifu kwa sababu ya maji. Tutaweza kudhibiti kwa sababu ya kupanda miti.
Finally, it was joy as friends and family celebrated a wedding between two dumb couples in Dairy Village, Kiambu County. The two lovebirds met while in school and their relationship blossomed, leading to the wedding. The ceremony attracted a host of people, some who wanted to witness that nothing is impossible in love.
I didn't find anyone when I went out.
Had the power gone off yet?
No, not yet. Then I saw a light in Ignacio's shop. I went closer and, thinking she was in there, I entered.
What happened then? Tell me. Answer me, Gonzalo. What happened when you walked inside Ignacio's shop?
Ones your 50s, put your 100s to your shoes. And to my fans, you know I love you. Let's go into the water. No, baby. Watch our lives passes by. We might run
Welcome back. And it has been described as a dangerous venture in which several men have succumbed as they struggled to search for the daily bread. School leavers and youth in Migori County view gold mining as the easiest route to escape poverty. Yet the minefields are death traps that can cave in any moment. Only 5 days ago, 6 miners were buried alive as they searched for gold in Makalda mines. The trade has left widows behind who opt to continue to engage in the business. But why do locals keep returning to the trade? Our very own Simon Achula and Rosalia Opondo visited several mines across Nyatika and Migori County and has filed the following report.
Cyprian Auma Odeo has been trading in gold for over 30 years, having begun the business in 1980 here in Mikei village, Nyatika in Migori County. It is a venture that the mother of 5 holds dear to her heart because it changed her financial fortunes.
I do not go inside the mines. I buy stones from outside and crush them. The money I get goes towards school fees for my children.
She is pounding away stones at her workstation, the makeshift gold crushing point, hopeful that she will strike the much sought after mineral. This is what she has been waking up to every day since 1980 when she got married in this village.
Why I got into this trade? I found most of the people here doing this trade, so I just followed suit. It was the economic mainstay here.
She buys stones from the gold diggers at the nearby site. Deep within the seemingly determined spirit of Cyprian are memories of the fatal gold which snatched her husband away. At this site, 18 years ago, her husband, a gold digger, died in the line of duty.
When he was in the cave, a stone fell on him and hurt him. This is how he died.
Cyprian is among an estimated 250,000 artisanal gold miners spread across the county. Migori County has a population of 170,000, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Artisanal miners make up most of the population, despite being a high potential area for agriculture. Makalda mining site, located in Nyatike sub-county, 40 kilometers from Migori town, is a vast piece of land that was recently the center of controversy. It led to a bloody war between community members and authorities over the communal mining site. Several people were injured.
At the root of the problem is just failed expectations and inability to manage processes that go into investment in the mining sector. And if there are strong institutions and there is goodwill and there is considerable dialogue, then parties would come to agree and we would avoid all this so-called resource curse.
The history of the mines dates back to the 1930s. Migori town, the otherwise sleepy village, comes alive at the mention of gold, with little other businesses. But this same resource has been a source of grief to several families.
There's a rush to go deeper in hope to finding more gold. But as a county, we are constantly dealing with trying to rescue people from pits, okay, and trying to assist families of the bereaved. It becomes almost a monthly occurrence that one or two people or three people die from collapsing.
At Makalda Mines, the site where Cyprian's husband met his death, tragedies continue to be reported. Only this week, at least 6 miners died after a tunnel caved in following heavy rains. The victims were buried alive at the Makalda Mines. We meet 34-year-old Levine Anyango Odhiambo, busy selecting stones she has just bought from a miner at Makalda site. She picks pieces, scrutinizes them, then throws them onto a pile. Beneath the resilience and dedication displayed, hers is a sorrowful story of the circumstances surrounding her husband's demise. She blames his untimely death on the miscommunication and insistence by co-workers that it was safe to descend down the dungeons, yet it was not.
Ile ni kama ilikuwa ni baruti. Ni kama watu saa nyingine wananiambia kuna wakati mwingine alienda kwa shimo na watu walikuwa wanapiga baruti. Sasa kupiga baruti wakakaa wakangoja, kuna saa ambayo inafika ndio watu wanaingia wanaingia kwa hiyo shimo, kisha pigwa baruti ili pumzi ile iende. Sasa unajua kama vile watu wao watu ambao wako na wafanyikazi wakakuwa na raka wakamarakisha ati endeni tu ile pumzi imeshaisha, kumbe ile pumzi ilikuwa bado. Sasa alipoingia tu hivyo akaanza tu kusikia athma. Watu wakakuja wakaniita ati bwanako anasikia vibaya kwa shimo. Kasema na hiyo athma leo imemzidia, ile athma leo imemzidia, tukampeleka hospitali Nyatike. Aya watu wa Nyatike wakawa madaktari wa Nyatike wakasema nimpeleke Migori. Nilipopelekea Migori akakufia huko Migori.
The search for gold is associated with immense dangers. The trade is a dusty affair that is destructive to the ear. Yet, profits in this trade are not guaranteed.
You must protect your ears, otherwise the noise will destroy them.
At the back of her mind, Cyprian is worried the gold reserves will slowly be depleted by the uncontrolled mining. Not even the deadly footprints of the fatal gold shared by these widows and many more undocumented will deter her from visiting the mines.
Each morning, hundreds of youth throng minefields armed with nothing but crude equipment and a torch to help navigate the death traps. Ready for the descent, the ropes roll on the metal bar and more stones emerge from the mine holes, and the process continues. Profusely sweating men dig through the earth strata, hope their main drive. The hole winds into several bends to the end. The danger inside the dungeon is palpable. The air is unfresh. The miners inhale dangerous chemical which pose a threat to their health. If not the air, the falling debris resulting from the loose soil supporting the whole walls often threaten to cave in, but the struggle continues. At the end of the day, just about 5 grams of gold will be extracted from the sacks of mineral ore. Each gram trading for slightly more than $20 US. The minefield owners take the bulk of the money. A small portion goes to the miners who in most circumstances squander the returns. And the struggle continues. Achola Simon for Channel One Weekend from Migori County.
At Kakula mining site in Nyatike, Migori County. The deafening sound of the crusher greets you. Men at work, it is an environment that is far from conducive. From noisy to dusty.
There's a lot of dust there and coffee and serious coffee.
These Nyatike residents have made peace with their unfavorable work environment. Hair, nose, all covered in white powder, all in a day's work. The noise remains on from dawn till late in the night. These locals handle mercury with bare hands. Despite knowing too well the dangers, they soldier on.
Yani ukiosha ile mercury, ukiosha kwa muda mingi, yani unakuwa unatetemeka. Unatetemeka.
Kwa mwili, kwa mkono.
Kwa mkono. Yani kitu ushiki sasa. Usiki ile nini kama unataka kuchukua kikombe hata kwa maji, unataka kukunywa hivi, unasikia sana, yani unatetemeka sasa. Ni kama unasikia kama unaona mtu ambaye kuna blood pressure.
The crusher does not stop throughout the day. The machine will be on the whole day. Mined ores stashed in sacks, waiting to be crushed. The crusher continuously fed with stones that have been sorted and dried in the sun.
There is a serious mercury crisis in the world because we still use mercury. We need to phase it out. Creates major health issues for people, particularly for children, and in particular for women in the mother's womb. So we need to phase it out.
In August 2017, the Minamata Convention was passed to reduce mercury pollution. It is named after the Japanese city which experienced a major mercury hazard. The Minamata Convention is a legally binding treaty that was signed by 128 out of 193 parties. The UN Environment estimates that 15 million people are involved in artisanal gold mining globally. While the ban on mercury has helped reduce emissions, Executive Director Eric Solheim says governments must engage in dialogue to keep the numbers low.
It does not decide what other options people shall use, but that's why there should be a dialogue between the miners and the government of Kenya as to what are the safe options, which will make sure that yes, you can continue the mining, you can get the income for your family, because lots and lots of people are depending on the mining for their income, but at the same time not put yourself into hazard, and not, if you do it in the river, the mercury get into the river, can get to the community, people get it into their bodies, and you will see this contamination, and at the end of the day, serious health problems.
Barry Lakoth and Yvonne Ojowi completed high school in 2013 and 2014 respectively. They got into the business that they describe as having somewhat fair returns. They have teamed up in the trade and often buy sacks of stones from the gold diggers. Women wait for stones to be delivered from the dungeons. They are not allowed to venture inside the gold mines. But the daring 24-year-old Yvonne believes she would make more money if she was allowed entry into the dungeons. Yet, cultural beliefs by the men, by the women, some think unfairly. For instance, men here believe that women, during their monthly menstrual flow, will not select or hit gold-bearing rock.
They used to say we do sample. We women. Really? Yeah.
The men here have nothing to lose. The descent into the dungeons is already more than risky. It's never a guarantee that they will return alive. Thus, most have adopted a carefree attitude towards life. Going by their carefree language, nothing really scares them. Molina Cheng, a mother of 4, reports to Mikeye Station at 10 a.m. most days. She just finished crushing the stones she bought from one of the gold diggers. To crush one sack of stones for 30 minutes, one parts with 300 shillings, an equivalent of $3.
I was escaping poverty, thus came here to look for daily bread.
There are up to 100 crushers in this area of Mikeye.
We are disadvantaged because it is the men who get down the mines. They make more money from the mines.
After crushing, the powder is washed in water and passed through a sack. The washerwomen get between 50 and 100 shillings per wash. The sieved contents are then mixed with mercury in a basin. Mercury is silver in color and will stick to gold. And these are the teeny-weeny pieces that keep residents such as Moline toiling for hours, days, weeks, months and years. Yet, still they cry foul over the mega benefits.
Bei sio poa. Moja ingine unaona hii magoldi iko kaki, iko ile iko na zinc, iko hii yellow iko mara ngapi? Sasa bei yao ni tofauti. Hiyo yellow ndio iko na bei ya juu kidogo. Hii kaki hakuna bei, saa ingine 200 point moja, hii ingine saa ingine 250. Bei ni chini.
After the prized possession has been identified, it is refined traditionally using charcoal.
Kama iko na zinc.
Oh, inatoa hii rangi? Kama ingekuwa regular ingetoa rangi gani?
Anatoa rangi yellow ya. Kama una zinc anatoa yellow. Kama iko na zinc anatoa
cream.
Hii na green cream.
The Mining Act was signed into law in 2016 to streamline the mining sector to promote its development while conserving the environment.
The law is very clear. Mining activities of all kinds are supposed to be licensed in a certain way. And predominantly what is going on in these areas, Mukalda mines and Kakula areas of Migori, does not pass the test of legality. But one must hasten to add that one has to appreciate that this has been a traditional form of livelihood that has existed over a long period of time.
The Act gives effect to the provisions of Article 60 of the Constitution of Kenya, which sets out principles of land policy. According to the law, these locals have been mining independently on government trust land. This means they are all squatters.
Right now, they are all squatting. in that particular area. Therefore, when it comes to organizing them, you are also dealing with other salient issues like settlement of squatters and how do you alienate government land and give it to individuals to start doing artisanal mining in it. And so these kind of challenges, and in a very politicized kind of atmosphere, becomes such a challenge for us as a county government.
Migori County Chief Officer for Environment and Disaster Management Joshua Ngwala says the county government is putting in place a system to involve miners. The county government of Migori is now sensitizing the community about the law using sector players like the church. After the tragedy in Mukaldo last week, the county government moved to impose a ban on all mining activities. Whether the locals will adhere to this is a different matter. The Mining Act has provisions to ensure health and safety of people working in the mines, as well as seeking to address gaps in the Mining Act of 1940, which did not provide room for value addition and use of latest technology.
Tujifunze ni mambo gani iko kwa hiyo Mining Act. Kwa sababu we are Kenyans. Kama kule Turkana tuna challenges ya mafuta. Na hapa lazima tujue tuko chini ya sheria. Na hiyo sheria ni wana Kenya. Na lazima ianze na kwa sababu ianze na kuprotect interest ya wananchi.
The mining bill was supposed to cure a potential ailment called the Dutch disease, which breeds laziness in the present and trouble in future when mineral reserves run out. Over-extraction of gold reserves leads to the destruction of the environment in the long run, its effect already being felt. The legislation provides for 70% of royalties to be paid to the national government, 20% to county government, and 10% to local communities. The policy intends to segregate mining zones from settlement areas, while in settlement areas, people will be free to trade. Mining activities world over have often led to controversies and resistance where communities felt marginalized and left out in the sharing of revenue accrued from mining. But as the widows of Migori soldier on and the miners continue to venture down dangerous caves in search of the daily bread, will the mining bill help harness resources? Will the legislation change fortunes for these poor who reside in remote locations, few who have reaped the benefits of mining?
Unaweza fanya nini kwa dakika 4? Na mega dola. Unaweza piga chef. Na mega dola. Kila kitu ni mega. Unaweza pika ugali. Na mega dola. Pesa hapa ni mega. Na mega. Labda unaweza fua nguo. Na mega dola. Ama unaweza tengeneza milioni 30. 4 minutes are enough to win big with Mega Dollar. Just go to Lipa na M-Pesa, select Pay Bill, enter business number 295888, enter account name KBC, deposit 10 shillings or more, enter your PIN and press OK, then choose 10 numbers from 1 to 80 and send to 29588. And you can win up to 30 million shillings every 4 minutes. Deposit, play and win with Mega Dollar. The big game for big winners.
All right, time for sports, and to begin our sports tonight with the latest update concerning the game that was played at Kasarani Stadium, the game between Hull City and Gor Mahia, where English Championship side Hull City defeated reigning Kenyan champions Gor Mahia 4-3 on post-match penalties after a barren draw in relegation time in a friendly match played at Kasarani Stadium in front of more than 50,000 football fans.
After more than 2 weeks of waiting, football fans in the country finally had the chance to witness the first English side to visit Kenya since 1984 take on Kenyan champions Gor Mahia. The fans began streaming into the newly refurbished 60,000-seater Kasarani Stadium as early as 9 a.m. Hull City started the game on a high, with Kogalo taking some time to settle into the fixture. After a goalless first half, the second half was all too similar, with both teams making countless attempts at goal, but none could find the net, forcing the game to penalties. Gor Mahia had the advantage going into the final kick of the first five, and only needed Sesidi Okeo to score, but his kick was saved to give Hull City a lifeline going into sudden death. The two teams scored their first kicks, but Kevin Omondi's penalty was saved, with the Tigers scoring to win 4-3.
Kevin Omondi, saved by Button, and it's the centre-back, Robbie McKenzie, and it's the inside! Well, this one is over, and Hull City win this contest between them and Gor Mahia.
What a great atmosphere, thank you so much. What a great experience we've sampled today. 40 degrees it must have been in the weather, obviously the 10th